Hello everyone, this is Esper and we're back here on the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Hello everyone. I love how the background keeps changing up with this chapter. So let's get into this. Last time, the pawn shop man was murdered. Our little friend, can't remember what her name was found in the room with the gun. We're gonna see what happens. But there was other guys suspiciously in there, and they shot home, so let's see what happens. Last chapter was short, so we shall see how this chapter goes. Bang! Ah! It'll be alright, Mr. Naruhodo. After them, go! Behind that door, in the storeroom. Hurry! It's Gina. From that moment, Windibanks pawnbrokery became a crime scene. Everything that followed happened in a whirlwind of activity. The arrival of the police, the preliminary investigation of the scene, and the questioning. It was just before dawn before I was allowed back to my lodgings at 221B. And as with always, I will say beforehand, if I say something, if I read one of these incorrectly, I'm sorry. Sometimes they throw out words that I am not always the best and most fluent at saying, but I do my best, alright? Especially near the end, when my mouth gets dry and kind of cottony from talking so much, then I start stumbling on my words more. So, just bear with me. I'll do my best. Oh, Iris. A telegram came, but all it said was wait at home. Hello, Wear Machine. Thank you for all the hydrates. This might cause a future bathroom break, but I got them in. Oh, it's not dry yet. We're just starting, so we're good for the moment. It'll get us a nice fresh start. And how have you been, Wear Machine? I'm glad to see you on the stream. Oh yes, we asked one of the policemen to have it sent. It was simply impossible to come back. When I woke up, I was all alone. Hurley and Ginny were gone. Everyone was gone. What happened, Runo? Poor Iris, she's trembling. She's obviously trying very hard not to let herself get too worried. I'll explain everything that I know. Something awful has happened, hasn't it? Yes, I'm afraid so. I'm sorry to have to tell you this, Iris, but Mr. Windibanks is dead. He was shot. We discovered it in the early hours of the morning. Oh, yes, I had a feeling. You did? Well, I saw all those police carriages pulling up outside his shop, so I knew something must have happened there. When we entered Windibanks in the small hours, we disturbed a gang of 2 thugs. They ran out onto the streets and I chased after them, but they got away. So, it was one of them who shot Mr. Windibanks, I suppose? I don't know, but that's not what the police believe at the moment. Oh, why not? I'm doing great. I'm nearly set up and should be back up and running in a couple weeks. Oh, that's awesome to hear. Hopefully, everything's been going smooth for you for unpacking. Hopefully, everything is just great. Our place, when we moved in, we're still unpacking. Honestly, I unpacked some more today. The house needed so much work done that it's like we'd get a room done and then unpack that room. So we're not fully even still moved in, and it'll be a year in October. So It can be a long process. I'm hoping yours is not. I'm hoping yours is a faster process than ours. I'm glad to hear that you're nearly set up, though. Oh, why not? They've arrested someone else as their prime suspect, you see. Gina. Ginny? But why? Well, the thing is... No, Ginny wouldn't do something like that. I know. None of us think she did it. Then why have they arrested her? I'm sorry, there was nothing I could do. Let's go ahead and talk about Ginny since we're on that topic. I understand why they arrested Ginny. It's not fair. What about the two thugs that were at the scene? Why aren't they the prime suspects? After all, they shot Hurley dead, didn't they? I didn't tell you that part yet. Hurley's not dead. No, I mean, Mr. Sholmes isn't dead, Iris. Ugh, this is also horrible. Thing is, Mr. Windibanks found the floor in the storeroom where he keeps all the deposit articles. And the storeroom door was locked from the inside. I see. But he wasn't alone in there. Ginny was found next to him on the floor as well. Oh no. According to the detectives who investigated afterwards... Don't tell me. There was no one else in the room. Yes, exactly. How did you know? The only explanation. Yes, the only explanation indeed. We've already solved a locked room case though, so hopefully we'll do it again, I'm sure. What do you mean by that, Runo? Well, what can I say? I bat off if I agree, and I am if I don't. Okay, now we can tell you about Sholmes. I didn't tell you he got shot before. So where's Hurley then? Is he still there investigating the scene? He really ought to have breakfast. It's not good for him to miss meals. I don't want you to worry, Iris, but I have some news to tell you about Mr. Sholmes. He was taken to the hospital this morning. What? Well, when we entered Windibanks, a gun was fired and he took a bullet. Hurley was shot? No. It's alright. His life isn't in danger. Really? Are you sure? Where is he? Which hospital? He's at St. Signers. They're tending at him there. I must see him at once. I'm sorry, Iris, but you can't. Why not? That's not fair. I'm a family member. I should be allowed. No, I mean, nobody can see him at the moment. He's not allowed any visitors. They're preparing to operate, you see. To operate? Oh, poor Hurley. It was the two thugs who were in Mr. Windibanks' shop. They shot Mr. Holmes when we disturbed them, you see. It was pitch black inside the shop at the time. My mind went totally blank, I'm afraid. I just froze. After them. Go! After that, I ran out into the streets, but... Well, they were long gone. I shouldn't have hesitated. I'm so sorry. It's my fault. I'll let them get away. I think that's a very good thing. Sorry? Well, if you'd seen which way they went and chased after them, you might have been shot as well, Runo. This game is so confusing, especially when you miss a few streams. Yes, it can be. That is for sure. We're in the last chapter. We're partway through it even. So, yeah, Mr. Windibanks, the pawnbroker, got shot last episode. And Gina, she was in one of the earlier... Trying to think. She was in chapter 3. She's the prime suspect right now, but we don't think it's her. I think this chapter is going to explain of why the first guy we defended here in London died in the omnibus. So we're hoping this will kind of tie up all the story. It's been a very good story so far, though. I do highly recommend you playing this after you finish with Phoenix Wright. On top of everything else, I couldn't bear that. Oh, Iris. Where's Susie, Runo? She's still at the police station. Oh, why? I expect she's still being questioned. The police said they wouldn't be finished for a while. Why aren't you there then? Well, I didn't get a good look at the criminals anyway, so they weren't questioning me for long. Miss Susato stayed behind the scene to tend Mr. Shum, so they didn't get started. They didn't get started until later. Ah, I see. You plan to Danganronpa as well? DR? Yes, yes, highly recommend it. I'm very excited. I'm working on the Digimon Survive, and it is mostly visual novel as well. So I'm excited to get more into the story of this one, of that, and see what it's like. So I'm working on that on my own time at the moment. One of us had to come back to be with Iris. I'm glad Inspector Gregson agreed to me leaving early. You should have let me know, and I would have come to the station. I'm afraid I'll need to go out again now, Iris. There's not much I can do at the moment, but I can at least try to find out how Mr. Sholmes and Gina are getting on. I want to go too. Take me with you, Runo. I can't stand just sitting around here waiting. I'm not sure how I feel about taking a 10-year-old child in the scene of a murder. But I don't want to leave her all alone here either. Alright then, Iris. Perhaps you can help me. Oh yes, I'd love to. Jean is at the prison. Mr. Sholmes is probably in his hospital bed. And don't forget, we have to visit the crime scene. We need to conduct a thorough investigation. Ah, I can see you're ready for action. Imagine Iris would appreciate going to the hospital sooner rather than later. Okay. Yep. Can we... Okay, so hospital. We go to hospital first. Hurley! Oh. He's not here? No, that's strange. Nurse definitely said he was in the bed by the window, didn't she? Where is he? Oh, I know what's probably happened. Hurley was being a big baby, and the bullet wound wasn't that bad after all, so he's been sent home. I'm not so sure about that. Baby or not, there's no question that it was a fairly serious injury that Mr. Sholmes suffered. Oh. Hello, hello, whatever we hear. This ward is off limits, no visiting. So what are you doing in here, huh? Well, I'll have you know we're Hurley's next of kin. Eh? Oh. Well, begging your pardon then, ma'am. Sir? A little lady and a curious Eastern gentleman? The great mystery solver as a mysterious family, eh? That's how you see us, sure. Where is he, Constable? Where's Hurley? I believe he's currently in the operating theater, ma'am, undergoing extensive operation. Extensive? It's been several hours since he went in. Oh dear. Is he going to be alright? Well, it doesn't appear to be working, you see. The anesthetic, that is. Oh. I report that the gentleman claimed he may have had a little too much drink last night. Coffee, that is. Anyway, I think it would be fair to assume that he won't be back here for several hours yet. I see. Thank you, Constable. Perhaps we should leave and come back later. Oh, poor Hurley. He had too much coffee. Look around. There's a notice board on the wall here. Look. See, what does it say? Thought of the day. On seeing any vermin, calmly and discreetly informed matron. Matron? Oh yes, they have rats and mice in hospitals like this. Love to feast on all the medicine. If you don't deal with them, there's nothing left to treat the patients. Rats and mice? Oh, I see. It's a rather old building, I suppose. But the doctors and nurses are all very good, I hear. Certainly hope so, for Mr. Sholm's sake. Anything else here? Nothing else? Crutches? Wonder what these are. Do you have any idea, Iris? Oh, haven't you ever seen crutches before? Let me explain. They're for people with leg injuries, to help them walk. You hold one under each arm, you see? Ah, right. Thought they were weapons of some sort. Why would there be weapons in a hospital? Thought maybe a fighter had been injured in a battle contest and been brought here along with his weapons. That's surprisingly plausible. Okay. Let's go and go down to the prison. Hello, Gina? Why did they let you keep the gun? You're in the prison. Oh, you still have the grenade launch Hurley and I made. Wish she wouldn't point it at me all the time, though. What are you here for? Jenny? I have a feeling it's because of us that you ended up in trouble. So we were thinking that we might be able to help you. We can't. Sorry. You are getting lost. Don't be like that, Jenny. I know you didn't do it. You never shoot someone. I just know you wouldn't. Think you know me? Pull the other one. Oh. You ain't got the first idea about the likes of me. I am a thief. I pinch people's purses when they're walking down the street. That's how I get by. And if I saw my chance, I'd sneak into a pawn shop any day of the week. Just see what I can lay my hands on, get it? That's the kind of person I am. But Jenny, I'll be in court tomorrow, they say. Some cove came by before and said he'd be a lawyer for me or like, said it was my right or something. But I told him to get stuffed. I don't need no lawyer. I don't need no one. She couldn't be staring at me any more obviously if she tried. Why are you being like this, Jenny? Jenny. I don't understand, Gina. Why did you send the public defender away? You wanted me to sign some papers, presentation papers or something like that. It's all gonna be rigged anyway, the whole trial. They pin it on me because I'm a kid. That's what grown-ups always do. Why do you think that? Because that's how it's always been for me, growing up in the back slums me whole life. If you do what grown-ups tell you, you'll get your mates dragged off by the coppers, or worse. I've had it happen to me before and all, but sold out and nearly snaffled on the back of it. You can't trust no one, that's the point. As soon as you do, you're gone to grass, dead. Gina, listen. If you like, in tomorrow's trial, I could... Forget it. Jenny. Don't you trust Runo? Nah, I don't. Look, I'll ask you nicely now. Just leave me alone. Will you tell us what happened, Gina? Last night at the pawnbrokers. There's nothing to tell. I figured I'd pay me back me. I broke into the place and started going through the storeroom. But the old bloke walked in on me and you know the rest. But why, Jenny? Why would you do that? Ain't obvious. The place is full of stuff I could sell for a shilling or two. Diving ain't easy, you know. It's a lot of work, and half the time you don't get nothing. Is that really why you broke into the place? What? Are you sure the true reason wasn't something else? Oh, give it a rest. What be the point anyway, eh? Nothing I could say would make a blind bit of difference. Please tell us, Jenny. We'll believe you. Whatever it is. Believe me? Don't be daft. You can't believe nothing. Everyone lies all the time. And you know what? When it comes to liars, I'm the biggest of the lot. I've told some unforgivable lies, I have. What do you mean by that? What unforgivable lies? What did you mean before, Gina, when you said you were the biggest liar of the lot? Why don't you tell us about these unforgivable lies you've told, huh? Maybe we can help? Sorry. We're out of time. They're gonna want to question me now. Jenny, please. Oh, yeah? I wanted to give you this. Something to remember me by. Photographic print of a really adorable cat. I found it in one of the pockets of this coat. Ain't no point in me having it. Wonder what a little photograph like that was doing in a pocket of that overcoat. Anyway, don't be bothered coming again. Bye. Oh, Jenny. White cat photograph has been entered into the courtroom. That was probably the item that oh, what was his name? The Benedict guy wanted. Like, okay, so let's go. We're gonna go Windibanks. Go Windibanks now. This is where it happened then, last night. That's right, the two thugs I told you about were obviously ransacking the place looking for valuables. But, apart from the policeman in here, you wouldn't know anything had happened. There's no sign of disturbance. A little bit, right down on the floor. No, you're right about that, actually. In fact, if anyone, it's the police who seem to be the ones doing the ransacking. Know what you mean, they're like a gang of organized criminals all dressed in black. Oh, I heard that. Ah, magic fish and chips, man. Oh, Inspector. Good morning. I suppose I have to thank you for the vigilance last night. We got to the scene before it got disturbed, at least. I wonder if they know about the camera. Shame you let the two rogues get away, mind. Yes, I'm sorry about that. I thought you'd signed extra men to the beat around here, Gregsy. Now look what happened. Hurley's been injured because there weren't enough police on duty. Your ladyship! No one told me you were coming. I still don't know what the connection is between these two. He obviously respects her a lot, though. I expect you to take full responsibility for what happened to Hurley and see he has very best medical care. Of course, your ladyship. The very best doctors in the capital are attending to him as we speak. And I don't think it's Runo's fault that the rogues managed to get away, is it? Chasing criminals is the police job. Absolutely, your ladyship. As you say, ma'am, as you say. The gent in black is totally blameless. Everyone is in agreement about that. Would you believe it? He's like a completely different person with Iris. Talk about a personality change. Oh, where are me manners? Are you thirsty, your ladyship? Perhaps you'd like some juice? Some nice, refreshing juice? Oh, why? Are you thirsty, Gregsy? I have some of my special herbal tea with me, if you'd like some. Glug, glug, glug. Ah, lovely. So very much. That really hits the spot, your ladyship. I don't even recognize him like this. So, how is the investigation going, Inspector? Nothing to it, really. Very simple case. There's some very definitive evidence. We're just about to charge the driver we arrested last night, in fact. Gina, you're gonna charge her? That's right. Should be able to bring her before the judge at the Baileys tomorrow. Definitive evidence, you say? What is it? Come on, show me. Your ladyship, as much as I wish I could oblige you, I'm afraid. Ah, I see. You've already captured the pair of thugs who broke in here last night, have you? What the? And you're going to put them on the stand as witnesses, are you? How could you? Oh! I could possibly know that. I had a feeling, that's all. Remind me never to try to keep a secret from Iris. So you've arrested 2 men who shot Mr. Holmes, have you? Well, yes. They were rounded up pretty quickly by the lads of the beat. And Miss Lestraine is being held at the prison. She should be. That's assuming she hasn't lifted the key from the jailer, of course. Can you tell us anything about Mr. Sholmes? What's his condition? Sorry, I'm not at liberty to divulge that information. Scotland Yard matters are strictly confidential. I know he's being operated at St. Snider's. Why can't I see him? I'm family, you know. I'm terribly sorry, your ladyship. It's the hospital's policy. No visiting at all. Oh. The bullet must have hit an artery in his midriff. He's lost a fair bit of blood. Oh no. He didn't seem too bad in the first hour or so, but hemorrhaging like that is enough to make even the one and only Sholmes pipe down. Mr. Sholmes is a human like the rest of us, you know. Well, anyway, he's having emergency surgery right now. They've got to stop that bleeding. But he'll be all right, won't he? They'll be able to make him better. Of course, your ladyship. He'll be as right as rain before you know it. Really? How do you know? How do I know? Well, yes, of course. Oh yes, because Mr. Sholmes is such a great detective, that's why. We better pray the doctors have a better grasp of what's needed to make someone well again. Oh dear, please don't die, Hurley. I'll report to your ladyship the moment I hear he's out of the operating theater. I can't help noticing, Inspector. What? Out with you, sunshine? Well, there seems to be a marked difference between the way you talk to me and Iris. Watch that sauce, Sonny. I'm a copper, and we don't go into for favoritism. But he's right. You do treat us differently. It's because of those adventures of Herlock Sholmes stories. That's why. Oh, I cropped up in him, don't I, Inspector Tobias Gregson? Oh, well, yes, because you're an acquaintance of Hurley's. What did you write about the inspector, Iris? I don't remember, really. One of Sholmes' lines. Gregson is the smartest of the Scotland Yarders, is how he put it. Oh, did I write that? And you know what that one line did for me, eh? Very next month, my pay doubled. Doubled, I tell you. Oh, that's amazing. All because everyone at the yard reads them. They read all the Herlock Sholmes stories. They've even set up a fan club for me. Of course, that explains everything. It was around the time that you became such a toady to me. Can you blame me? All it'd take is one bad word from you and the Sholmes would change his tune about me. Gregson, no. The great detective will say he's being quite overrated these days. What would happen to my salary if it came out in print, eh? The whole thing gives me the willies. I can't tell you how many nights of sleep I've lost worrying about it. But that would never happen, Greg, see? Every month when the new Rance magazine comes out, my hands are trembling as I turn the pages. Oh, how awful for you. Here, have some of my tea to settle your nerves. He's sweet to her because he's scared of what she can do to him. Ah, lovely. So very much. That really hits the spot, your ladyship. Teetotal? Oh, yeah. There's something I was supposed to talk to you about, actually, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? What is it? I've got an important message for you. I clean forgot about it until now. Important message? Wonder what it could be. Maybe it's about Susato? Are you going to tell me what this important message is then, Inspector? Yeah, it's about that young lady who's normally by your side. Your assistant. Dear Susie? Is she alright? She's at the station, isn't she being questioned, I believe? Nope, not anymore. She had to head off. Head off? Where? To Lord Strongheart's office, of course. He summoned her. Ah, yes, of course. I'd forgotten about that. One of those whipstocks took her here in the yard carriage after we finished questioning her. But she asked to tell you she didn't have the fare for the return journey to go and meet her there. She's got a nerve, Scotland Yard's is a bloomin' message service. I see. Well, thank you for passing that on, Inspector. Why did Susie have to go see the Lord Chief Justice? She didn't tell me. I'd better head over to the Lord Chief Justice's office to fetch her straight away. I want to investigate first, though. Can I examine stuff? Investigate thoroughly, but can't find anything out of place. Wait. Alright then, let's see what we can uncover. Oh wait, what do you think you're doing, Sunshine? You can't touch anything in here. Oh, but we were hoping to investigate. This is crime scene for Pete's sake. No touching. What's the problem, Gregsy? Aruna's a lawyer, you know that. Oh, I'm ever so sorry, your ladyship. Ever so sorry. The rules and regulations are a thorn in my side. Of course, if Mr. Naruhodo was to have been properly appointed by the accused, that'd be another matter. The accused? If you could show me some representation papers, I'd be only too happy to let you nose around. Did you hear that, or no? You need Jenny to sign some representation papers. Looks like presenting the detective here with the correct paperwork is the only way. Okay. Alright, let's move. Okay. Let's go back here. Go fetch Susato. Yes? No matter how many times I come here, I always get the same sense of apprehensiveness somehow. Do you think the place is oppressive? I think it's normal. How so? I mean, look at the suit of armor over there. You can't take that seriously, can you? Maybe it thinks the same about you. So everything is clear with regard to tomorrow's arrangements, I trust. Yes, thank you very much. There they are, Susato-san and Lord Strongheart. I wonder what they've been talking about. They both look very serious. Very good. There is nothing further to discuss. You may return to your lodgings. No doubt you have much to do in preparation for your return to your homeland. We're being sent home? Or just her? Wait, what did he just say? You return to your homeland? Susato-san! Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. What was all that about? Ah, Mr. Naruhodo. Thank you for coming to collect your colleague. What's this all about? Why were you talking about Miss Susato returning to her homeland? And Tomorrow. Tomorrow? But what about Ginny's trial? You mean she's being formally charged now? Oh dear. Girl, you got some explaining to do. Miss Susato, what's all this about? Oh, please don't concern yourself, Mr. Naruhodo. It's only me going back to Japan. Your life here can continue just as it has. That's not what I asked. What happened? Why are you leaving? It's my father. He's fallen ill. Oh no. Professor Mikitoba? If I may? Yes, sorry. You must be the defendant. Rinosuke Naruhodo, I believe. Yes, that's right. My name is Yujin Mikitoba. I'm professor of forensic medicine at Yumne University. I haven't seen him since like chapter 1. We received an international telegram from the Empire of Japan informing us of the news. 10 days ago, Father collapsed with a fever. The cause is apparently unknown. Seems he's growing weaker day by day. I don't believe it. As you are aware, the voyage from here to your country's capital, Tokyo, takes some 50 days. I thought it'd be prudent to hasten Miss Susato's departure as much as possible. Yes, absolutely. I will leave London first thing tomorrow morning. I can't believe this is happening. So Gina has been charged? She'll have to appear in court. Yes, she was formally charged a few hours ago. The date of the trial has already been set for tomorrow. No, not even 24 hours later. Gina. Ah, the Lestrange girl, the murder of the Baker Street pawnbroker, yes? An all too conspicuous case, the pickpocketing was clearly disturbed mid-robbery and shot the man in panic. No, the yard is overstretched as it is. Without wasting time, these open and shut cases. It's not wasting time. Ginny would never do something like that. Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, yes, Lord Strongheart. In deference of your fine services to date, I shall overlook this young girl's insolence. But I have no recollection of admitting a child into my office. Leave. Now. Of course, Lord Strongheart. Criminals will tell the most palpable lies in order to evade justice. The police can ill afford the time it takes to unravel all their untruths. Meanwhile, more crimes are perpetrated. We have far more serious matters with which to contend. Serious matters? Didn't Gregson mention something like that yesterday? Yes, Inspector Gregson made a similar remark yesterday. It's no concern of yours, though I'm sure I need not remind you of that. 3 minutes precisely to my next meeting. You must excuse me. There's just one more thing, Lord Strongheart. Which is? It's Miss Lestrange's trial. I wonder if you might permit me to defend her. Timely suggestion. Sorry? The girl currently has no representation. But that's not fair. Yes, she may be a pickpocket, but she still deserves a fair trial. Do not misunderstand me, young lady. The government provides for those two poor to afford representation with a public defender. Accused need only sign the relevant paperwork. The defense barrister will be assigned to the case. However, the young girl in question has refused that right. Why would she do that? Question you would do well to direct at Miss Lestrange. You'll find her at the local prison. We've actually gone and seen her already. Yes, thank you. Now then, it's time I was leaving. Good day to you. What a day. Gina charged with murder. Susato-san about to leave. Come, Mr. Naruhodo. Iris, we must make haste. But, Susie. You're leaving for Japan tomorrow morning, aren't you? Don't you have to pack and things to do? As Mr. Naruhodo's traditional assistant, my personal circumstances are of no consequence. My sole purpose remains to help you in whatever way I can. Thank you, Miss Susato. It's a very pensive look. I think we ought to visit Gina first. In any case, I should like to wish her well before I leave. Yes, that sounds like a good idea. Let's go. If I'm honest, this has completely thrown me off. I'll just have to do what I can as a lawyer. Okay, let's go get her. Sign some paperwork for us. Ah! Hello again, Gina. Not the gun again, girl. Why are you lot here for now? Have that muzzle of that grenade launcher shoved in your face yet again, obviously. I think I need to improve the way you load ammunition in that thing, don't I? Look! You can come as many times as you like, but I ain't got nothing more to say to you. Gina, I wonder if you might hear me out. There's something I'd like to say. What? I'm sorry to say that I must reluctantly bid you farewell. Farewell? Tomorrow I must begin my journey back home, to Japan. I fear we may never meet again. Oh, right. I've had the pleasure of meeting so many lovely people here in London. I have so many wonderful memories. And yet, as things stand now, it will be a glum parting indeed. Poor Iris is so miserable. Susie. Well, well. That ain't my business. Both Iris and Mr. Naruhodo believes you to be innocent, Gina. They've put their faith in you. But somehow, you can't find it in your heart to put your faith in them. Yeah, that's right. I can't. What of it? Grieves me greatly to have to say goodbye to my friends when they're so clearly unhappy. Because of you. What? It's my fault? Yes, so I have one final request, Gina, before our paths never cross again. Right here now, I want you to show both of them that you don't deserve the faith they've invested in you. Only by doing that will you truly be as alone as you claim to be. What are you talking about? What do you expect me to do, You've told us that everyone lies. So prove it by admitting one of your own untruths. What about what you said before, Ginny? You said something about unforgivable lives. You must tell Mr. Naruhodo and Iris the truth now. That is my last request before I leave. My last request as a judicial assistant. No, I can't. Whatever these lies are, they're obviously weighing very heavily on Gina's mind. Gina, I could be wrong, but is it something to do with what happened over 2 months ago? Perhaps about that trial? The one in which Magnus McGilded was acquainted? Ah. The case of that mysterious murder that took place inside the omnibus? You were called as a witness by the prosecution. That what this is about? Yeah, you're right. Because in that trial, I lied. I'd like you wouldn't believe it. Will you tell us about it now? Gonna figure out some info. Like you said, it all happened 2 months ago. The coppers got hold of me and shoved me in the witness stand. Based on your testimony, Mr. McGilded was declared innocent. Yeah, well, the thing is, I lied about a whole bunch of stuff. I knew it. What sort of things did you lie about? I was under the seat that night. That was the truth. It's pitch black in that little cubby hole. I couldn't see a thing, and then I heard the loudest thud, like someone falling on the floor. That's when Mr. McGilda discovered you? Yeah. Pulled me out from under the seat and sat me next to the dead man. There weren't much light to see, but when I looked at my hands, I had the cove's blood all over them. I was so scared, I couldn't even speak. You had blood on your hands? In other words, it was Gina that the witness on the roof deck saw through the skylight. Then Mr. McGill started asking you questions, I suppose. Who you were and why you were hiding under the seat? Yeah, he did. Only, that's not all. What do you mean? I mean, he threatened me. Threatened you how? He made me swear about what I'd seen and what I'd heard. About what he was gonna do after the cove was found dead. He made me swear I wouldn't tell no one about it. If I did that, he said he'd let me scarper her before the coppers showed up. Gina, you must tell me what he swore you to secrecy about. What you saw, what you heard, everything. You said Miss McGill made you swear not to tell anybody what you saw. But you were in the pitch black compartment under the seat the whole time, weren't you? Yes, with Miss McGill sitting above your head, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that's true, but it was when I heard the thud of the cove I lifted the floor. I let out a little scream, see? Couldn't help it. Gildan heard that and dragged me out from one arm, and that's when I saw it. It was on the floor next to the old geezer. What had been stabbed. A disc, all bright and shiny. A disc? Do you mean... Yeah, that's it. The one with the D took off me at the Windibanks. So the music disc was there, on the floor of the omnibus. Not for long, Mr. McGill spotted it right straight away. He picked it up smartish and stuffed it inside his pocket. That disc was in the omnibus 2 months ago at the scene of Mr. Mason's murder. That's why there was blood on it. And the bog trogger told me I weren't to mutter a word of it to no one. Because it was so dark under the seat in the cab, I was straining my ears the whole time. After a while, I heard the door and the footsteps inside the cabin. Presumably, that was Mr. McGilden getting on board. Nah, not only him. Oh. Because I could definitely make out the footsteps of two people. In that case, it would seem likely that it was Mr. McGilden and the victim, the thrice-fired Mason. In his testimony during the trial, Mr. McGilden claims he had slept during the carriage ride. But whenever I'm in the carriage, I'm taken to a fierce tiredness and I succumb to it. And your own testimony, Gina, supported this. All I could hear was the Irishman snoring. Yeah, that weren't exactly true. Either of them was asleep. I could hear him talking the whole time in low voices. What were they talking about? Sorry, I don't know. The sound of them horses and wheels was too loud. But that still tells us something. Mr. McGilden and the victim knew each other. So McGilden was lying as I suspected. Knew it weren't going to take long before someone raised an alarm that the bloke had been killed. Yes, you're quite right. The other passengers on the roof deck noticed very quickly. So when the cab came to a stop, McGilden took me to hide back under the seat again. I climbed in and waited. Two covers from up top ran off to get the coppers. Yes, Mr. Fairplay and Mr. First? Right. And after that, they they'd gone, Miss McGilden asked the driver to do him a favor. A favor? Now then, fella, what I need you to do is take this coat of mine and deposit it into a nearby pawnbrokery. And for your troubles, let's see now. I'll give you 10 guineas. A nearby pawnbroker? You mean on Baker Street? Yep, you got it. It was Windibanks. The coachee snapped up the money and ran off to pop his coat as fast as he could. So then there was no one left in the carriage. Miss McGilden opened the box under the seat and let me get out of there, but not without conditions. I see. What were McGilden's conditions then? We're letting you go free, I mean. Not telling a soul, not for anything, about what I saw and what I heard. And there was something else as well. There's more? Yeah, this is the most important thing, he said. I'm after sending the coachman on a little errand for me, with some small change in his hand. Now then, did you hear what I asked of him? Did you see anything at all? You asked him to go pop your weasel, right? Aye, the fiend's taken me overcoat to deposit it with a pawnbroker whereabouts. I want you lass to take the redemption ticket for it. Do you understand? What? You want me to have the ticket? That's right, and I'll come fetch it for you later, sometime within the next 2 months. You're to hang on until then, is that clear? And whatever you do, don't lose it. Alright then. And in case I might happen to be delayed at all, you're to go to the pawn shop, Windibanks, so it is, and you're to extend the loan for the 2 months is up. If you forget, the article will be forfeit, and any old fiend could come along and buy it. But I ain't got that kind of brass. Here's £5. Should be enough. Do you understand each other, lass? Don't try anything funny now. If you go against me, yeah, I get it. Good. And one more thing. In a few days from now, you'll be visited by the police, I've no doubt. The coppers? Yeah. They'll come asking you to take the stand in court to testify as a witness. So let's just have a wee chat about that, shall we? What is that you might say, and what is you won't? After he'd gone over it all, I piked it. Got as far away from there as I could. He did the pawnbroker's ticket in some bushes near the scene. I went to fetch it the next day once it got dark. So McGilden planned it. And coerced Gina into giving false testimony. I bet you're ready to string me up, eh? I lied. In that big old courtroom. I told some corkers. Thing is, he said he would make it so we couldn't live in the East End no more. That's what he threatened me with. What a wicked man. He knew everything what went on in the back slums. He knew we had no one to look after us, and we was all just looking out for each other, getting by together. So you mean Mr. McGilden would have, in a heartbeat, he could have had the lot of us chased out of there if he wanted. And then where could we have gone, eh? Nowhere, that's where. So, I didn't have no choice. Thank you, Gina, for telling us everything. But, I'm for it now, huh? Go on, admit it. You must be livid. Well, you can make amends by doing me a simple favor. A favor? What? Sign the representation papers for tomorrow's trial. Eh? If you don't actually want me to represent you in court, you rip it up later. But we need the paperwork, or we can't investigate. The police won't let us. Investigate what? Scene of the incident last night. Mr. Sholmes was shot, you see. You what? Hurley's having a big operation right now, Jenny. Is it bad? Is he gonna be alright? Sholmes is gonna be alright, right? That's why I want to investigate, for Mr. Sholm's sake as much as anything. Right. So what you're saying is, if I sign that bit of paper, everyone's happy, is that it? Something like that. Miss Susato? Yes, of course. I have the representation papers here. I don't need no one to stick up for me, though. No lawyer or nothing. Poor Ginny. She seems so lonely. Ginny's representation paperwork has been entered to the court record. Well, at least this should mean we can investigate the scene of Windibanks now. Yes, and perhaps we can come back to visit Ginny when we're done here. There. I feel like we finally cracked Ginny. She's opened up to us at last. Now I have her representation papers. No one else knows just what a responsibility that is. Anyway, for now it means Inspector Gregson can't stop us investigating at Windibanks. Although, something tells me he's not going to be happy about it. We're at the hour mark. I'm trying to decide. I think we'll push through another chapter. It's still a bit early. I'm gonna hit the restroom real quick though before we start. Okay. Let's get into this next chapter. We saved. Now let's go back. And hope this next chapter's not 2.5 hours long. Usually those are more for the trial ones though. So hopefully this next one's just only like another hour. Like the last two were. Here we are again at the scene of the crime. Now to thrust these representation papers in Gregson's face and see what he makes of them. Hello again, Inspector. Do you have a minute, please? What is it now? You should go home and get some rest. Here you are, Gregsy. Here are the representation papers. Your ladyship. How? I don't believe it. How the devil did you get that stubborn little ragabash to sign that? I salute you. That is good work, that is. I can see you've been very busy here as well. How about some tea? It's a special blend designed to relieve fatigue. Ah, lovely. Well, let's see now. Yes, I hardly feel tired at all. I'm fit as a fiddle, your ladyship. Would it be alright if we investigated the scene of the crime then? Do as you please. You know where it happened? Through the door behind the counter. Yes, the storeroom. That's where I discovered Mr. Windibank and Gina. This is our first time actually getting to investigate, I think, the scene of the crime. Right, well, I'll be getting back to business then. Will you be investigating in the storeroom as well, Inspector? If I'm perfectly honest, we need to wrap this up before long, and can't afford to spend too much time on it. And there are so many articles to go through, it's taking forever, even with the lads working around the clock. Which is a problem, because there's another case the Yard needs to investigate urgently. That must be what the Lord Stronghart meant by far more serious matters before. So what I'm saying is, don't get under my feet, sunshine. Come then! Let us not waste any time. Okay, I want to investigate down here. Oh, that's broken. There's an article ledger here in Mr. Windibank's notes. What's this? It looks as though someone left a little photograph or print behind. Oh, look at the back. There's some writing. Is there? Oh, show us, Susie, show us. The same print that we were given already. "15th February, 10:30 p.m. Article deposited one gentleman's overcoat. Loan amount paid, £1. Redemption deadline, 15th April. Gentleman's overcoat pawn for £1. It was a very fine coat. In fact, I think... Yes, this must be the ticket for the overcoat that Ginny redeemed yesterday. And is still wearing, which belonged to Mr. McGilden. I never expected the redemption ticket to be handwritten on the back of a photograph, though. Name's Mr. Windibanks. Just use whatever piece of paper he happened to have on hand. But this photograph of a cat looks very familiar, doesn't it? I'm sure I've seen this exact same picture somewhere else recently. Oh yes, you're right. Very recently. The same one Ginny gave us earlier. Of course. I was forgetting that she gave us that print. Well, what are you waiting for, Mr. Naruto? Get it out. Alright. Let's get the cogs turning. Yes, they're exactly the same. No, they're not. Slightly different. That cat's looking more that way. This one's looking straight on. Well, if the one on the counter was used as a redemption ticket, perhaps the other photograph that Ginny gave us has something written on the back too. I've got it. These two photographs hide an amazing secret. Secret? What does she mean? You must tell us, Iris, at once. Do you really want to know? Yes, we need you to tell us all you know about this pair of photographs. So, Iris, about these two photographic prints. One's we found here at Windibanks' counter, and the one Gina gave us before. What is this amazing secret you mentioned that's hidden between these two identical prints? They're not identical. The cat's looking that way. Actually, that's not quite right. Sorry. If you look carefully, the two prints aren't the same. Not exactly. They're not. Told you that. I'm gonna look at them now. Can you see that they're just slightly different from each other? I think so. It's very subtle, though. But what's the reason for the subtle difference between the two prints? Oh, well, it's because they're a set, you see. No, I don't. This pair of photographs is meant to be used in a stereoscope. Everyone in London is raving about them at the moment. Ah, stereoscope. Why do I feel as though I've heard that word before recently? Oh yes, that's what Mr. Shums told us yesterday. You see? There it is, just over there. Oh yes, of course, the magical machine that makes pictures look almost real enough to touch. Well, actually, it's quite possible to see the same depth in picture even without one of those contraptions. What? Really? Do you know how a pair of flat photographic prints can appear to have any depth in the first place? No, I have no idea. Oh, wonderful. Excuse me. Then I'll be able to tell you. She's over the moon, bless her. Should we let her explain, though? We really need to carry on investigating the scene. I, for one, simply have to know. Okay. Have you ever considered, Runo, how our eyes see depth in the world around us? Well, I just opened them and it works. But the reason it works is because we have two eyes. Two eyes? Shocking. If you try closing one eye at a time, I think you'll see straight away what you see in your left eye and what you see in your right eye are ever so slightly different. You get different views with each eye. Yes, the position of objects seems to shift slightly. Exactly. In your head, your brain uses that shift to estimate depth as it merges the two views into one. That's how you can sense depth in everything we see. Ah, my brain really is amazing, isn't it? It does so much without telling me. Ah, I think I see. So the pair of photographs consists of a left eye view and a right eye view. Is that right? Oh, well done, Susie. You're so quick. So, if you can persuade your brain to merge the two pictures together in your head, You'll be able to see depths in these prints. Yep, Bruno, you're beginning to understand. Stereoscope functions as active as your brain and allow you to do just that. Yes, but as long as you have two images, two eyes, and one brain, you can actually do it yourself without needing a stereoscope at all. You can? Really? Let's try it. Let's see if you can view the pair of prints without the help of a stereoscope. Oh yes, I'm dying to have a go. Susato-san really loves this kind of thing. You need to be able to cross your eyes. That's the main thing. Can you both do that? Cross my eyes? I think I can. Watch me. See if you can copy. Make your eyes do this. Alright, let me try. Are you ready, Mr. Naruhodo? I really need to have this as the thumbnail right here. Let me make a note of the time frame for this. Alright. I need to use this as the... Yes, definitely. Wonderful. Now it's your turn, Bruno. Trick is to concentrate on looking at the bridge of your nose. Both eyes at the same time. Not exactly as easy task when two people are staring you cross-eyed. Alright, that's enough practice. Now let's try it looking at the prints. Start by staring at one print and slowly crossing your eyes. You should see two overlapping images like this. You try it now, Bruno. I'm just gonna have to give it a try, I suppose. Did this print split into two images for you? Now the next step is to put the pair of prints side by side like this, and then try crossing your eyes again. The prints should slowly merge together until they form a new single image in the center. Oh yes! Mr. Naruhodo, it works! I can see it in the middle now. It looks so real. Oh, I could just look at it all day. I wouldn't advise that. Your eyes might start to hurt. Your turn, Bruno. I've already done it. Pretend you're looking through the two pictures and slowly cross your eyes. Keep adjusting the position of your eyes until the two just overlap exactly in the middle. Like this, is it? There, you managed it. So now you know how stereoscopic images work. Well, I don't know how you discovered it, but it really is quite extraordinary. So what do you think of these stereoscopic prints then, Bruno? They're certainly amazing, but it isn't easy to get the knack of viewing them properly. No, some people find it easier than others. But that's why a contraption like this exists, for people who find it tricky. Oh, I recognize that. I saw one over there yesterday, didn't we? If I remember correctly, you press this little knob here, and then set the pair of photographs to stand at the back end. Still amazing, even though I know roughly how it works now. Well, London seems to agree with you. Stereoscopes are very popular at the moment. You can find one of these folding contraptions in lots of households in the capital currently. If these little machines are so affordable, surely there's no need to go around staring cross-eyed at pictures like you hate them. But it's much more satisfying to be able to see the effect with your own eyes. Well, I think so in any case. Stereoscopic pictures, I'd never even heard of them until yesterday. I've certainly learned a lot about them, but I wonder if it's knowledge I'll ever actually need. Very well may. Okay, which reminds me. The back of the photograph was used to write out the pawnbroker's ticket that Gina brought in here yesterday. The other photograph came from the pocket of Mr. McGilder's overcoat. We need to examine everything thoroughly, don't forget. Okay, really? Here, I want to look. Okay. I'll examine this. Can we flip it over? It's the same one, isn't it? Look at the back of this print here. There's something written on it. Article deposit, 1 small box. Loan amount paid, 10 shillings. Redemption deadline, 13th April, 9 p.m. So this photographic print is a redemption ticket for an article that was deposited 2 days prior to the incident on the omnibus, it would seem. Yes, a small box. That doesn't tell us much about it, does it? Perhaps it contains some valuable mementos. It's the box with her story in it, I bet. I can't help wondering. Presumably Mr. McGill never renamed the article in question since he still had the ticket. So isn't it possible the box is still present somewhere in the shop? Ah, yes. If it's something Mr. McGill deposited, we need to investigate. Okay. Back up. Okay. No, good. Okay, let's examine. Lamp is broken. The ledger that's open on the counter there really is enormous, isn't it? It must be awfully a lot of work to keep track of all these hundreds of items in the pawn. It's too much to think about. Better to sell it all and have a clear head if you ask me. Literally, Mr. Windibanks was very careful when it came to the articles in his care. We got no comment about the actual... Talk to him. Police are scouring every inch of this place. By the look of it, instructions from the yard are to examine every article in the shop and every ledger and book of accounts. Every article, but that's a ridiculous amount of work, surely. We've been hard at it ever since the shop was declared a crime scene in the early hours. We're sifting through all of it in shifts at least, but still. We'll be working through the night, that's for sure. Even then, we'll barely have to scratch the surface. Crime at a pawnbroker's. It must be every policeman's worst nightmare. Every copper's worst nightmare, you know, crime in a pawnbroker's. Okay, I want to look. Where's the camera? There had been a camera up there. Behind that door is a storeroom, isn't it? That's what Gregsy said. Yes, that's where I saw the dreadful scene last night. Through the little window in the door. You know, someone could easily open that little window, shot him through the window. That's a plausible idea. Mr. Windibank, face down on the floor, with Gina beside him. As the accused legal representative, you have the right to examine the scene, Mr. Naruhodo. We must make thorough investigations. Yes, of course. We will. Behind that door, that's the real scene of the crime. Don't worry. If there are clues in there, I'll find them. Okay, well, let's go ahead and move in there. I think. Poor Iris. She clammed up completely. Iris is bound to find this difficult. After all, Mr. Windibank's life was taken in this very room only last night. Ah! Wait, Inspector. What is it now, Sunshine? You took one look at me and tried to run away. You think a Scotland Yard inspector would run away from some jumped up little defense lawyer, do you? Well, I've never seen her ladyship look like that before, is the thing. I didn't know what to say to her. So you weren't running away from me, you were running away from a 10-year-old. I'm afraid this is all a little much for young Iris. Some gentle reassurance might go a long way, perhaps, Inspector. Don't trouble yourself unduly, your ladyship. I mean, at least you're not dead, are you? Oh, goodness, you're awful. This. I don't think this went very well. Why? Look, I'm in the middle of investigation here, Sunshine. I told you not to get on my feet. And we have investigating to do ourselves. Yes, I'd like to hear more of what the socially inept inspector has to say. Oh, Hurley, inquire into how Mr. Sholmes' operation is doing. Let's go ahead and ask about the operation. Gregsy, do you know anything about Hurley? Is operation finished? Is Hurley alright? Is he? Thing is, don't mince your words, Inspector, please. You don't mean to say that Mr. Sholmes is... No, the operation's done and dusted. It's just that, well... Out with it! Yes, ma'am. They use something called a general anesthetic. It's the latest thing. Readers the whole body insensitive. Whole body? Anesthetized? It's anesthetic, but a little different. Is that even possible? It means the operation can be completed while the patient is fast asleep. Goodness, in the Empire of Japan, we can just manage to provide a laughing gas for a tooth extraction. The trouble is, the latest thing isn't always the greatest thing, if you follow me. My meaning, they couldn't get the medication to work at first, so it took hours for him to nod off, or so I heard. Here, now the operation finished, they can't get him to wake up, apparently. Oh my. No one knows if it's the anesthetic still in the system, or if the bloke's just plain exhausted. Anyway, all they can do is stand back and watch until he comes around again. Hurley. The moment he opens his eyes, your ladyship, I swear I'll get a word to you. What a surprise. Even in the matters of life and death, Mr. Sholmes has to do things his way. So, Inspector, what do you make of the crime scene here? Pshaw, you've got eyes, haven't you? Give some. It is what it looks like, nothing more, nothing less. Iris, could you lend me a hand? So, Gregsy, what do you make of the crime scene here? Oh yes, your ladyship, do allow me to humbly explain. Last night, shortly after the hour of 1 o'clock in the morning, Scotland Yard police attended the scene. The one and only door to the storeroom was found locked from the inside. So it was locked from the inside. The lock appears to be broken now, though. Was that the police officers doing? Quite right, ma'am, quite right. Well, we took the liberty of smashing the door in as humbly as possible. Oh. As you can see, the victim was discovered prostrate on the floor, thuswise. And next to the aforementioned body, we discovered the gutter child. Are you talking about Ginny? She's my friend, you know, Inspector. Miss Lestrade, the hapless girl, was curled up on the floor, dead to the world. She's still alive, you know. Yes, when I saw her, she appeared to be unconscious. And I'm afraid to say, she had the gun that was used in her hand. No. Presumably, it's the gun that's still down there on the floor now. In her pocket, we found the key to the door as well. What? The key to the storeroom? And you say the storeroom had been locked from the inside, Inspector? Correct. All of which leaves her ladyship's friend in somewhat of a sticky situation, I'm afraid. Obviously, my personal opinion is that it's all some sort of a misunderstanding. Of course it is, Inspector. Of course it is. Alright, let's look here. The police have marked the position of the body with a chalk line. Poor Mr. Windibank. He was a nice old man. Well, he was shot just once through the heart. Most likely the fellow died instantly. He wouldn't have felt a thing. Aha! I may well be able to help with that. What? There's nothing like the sight of blood to get the blood pumping, as everyone know? I have a feeling I'm not as blood-minded as you, Iris. I'm afraid the sight of blood makes my blood run cold. There you have it, you see? When it comes to blood, we're all different types. Yes? What a scientific observation. So you need this. Oh no, what is that scary looking thing? Harley and I haven't actually come up with a name for it yet. But as soon as you see it in action, you'll understand what it does. Watch. Oh, the color of the blood stain has changed. There, does it make sense now? Yes, I think I'm starting to understand. Good. It works on the principle that different people, different types of blood, you see? Yes, how wonderful. The chemical it fires combines with the blood and makes it change color, so you can identify whose blood it is that you're looking at in a flash. Oh, that's a fabulous invention, Iris. Isn't it? Isn't it? I bet Jenny would say it's bleeding great. So whose blood are we looking at then? This must be Mr. Windibank's blood. Yes, this is where he was shot, so there can't be a question of that. This could turn out to be a very valuable clue, so we simply must take note of it. Okay, different bloods turn different colors. Let's keep testing it, adding the results of any other blood analysis to the portfolio. As long as I have a reagent left, sure. This is a revolver, the real one. We'll use it at some point on the disc, I bet. That bloodstain. And quite possibly the murder weapon used to take Mr. Windibank's life. What's the matter, Susie? You and Runa look like you're about to faint. Well, it's just that I've rarely seen a gun in the flesh. And I've had issues with guns in the past. But anyway, we saw Mr. Windibanks with this yesterday, didn't we? I shall have to take my own life. It must be the same gun. And last night, when I looked through the spy hole in the door to the storage room here, that was the same gun I saw in Gina's hand. Mr. Windibank told us that he only ever had a single bullet load in that revolver, didn't he? Well, it's empty now. The one and only bullet he had in the gun has been fired. So we can be very certain that only a single shot was fired from this revolver. Look at all these articles that have been deposited. The room is stuffed full of them. I can't believe how many there are. Bicycle, a gramophone, musical instruments, even some enormous paintings. But look, pieces of different people's lives quietly gathered dust in here together. Something very peaceful about the atmosphere in here. Or at least there would be if not for the chalk outline on the floor and the policeman shuffling about. Not much I can do about that, sunshine. Out of all the Chronicles in the storeroom, this is the only thing that shows any sign of being ransacked. Ah! What is it, Iris? That's the box file that my manuscript was being kept in. Oh. Iris' unpublished story, Hound of the Baskervilles. Surely that's not what all this... Sorry, Iris, but if you ask me, he sold it. Without telling you. We must check inside the box at once. Yes. He'll be gone. Ah! It was there. I'm sorry, it was there. Really? It was? Well, that's good news, isn't it, Iris? Yes. I mean, of course I believed Hurley when he said he deposited here, but still. It's a relief to actually see it. Really? Because that's not very well hidden frown. Been entered to the court record. How long until we come clean and tell her about the fact that we knew her dad? Wonder. Find everything here? Okay. Let's go back into the main shop. There's probably a couple more things to look at, even though I doubt there's anything more that's gonna happen to the record. Okay. Investigated thoroughly, but okay, yeah. That's a music box. Do you have them where you come from, Runo? Yes, but I've never seen one as large as this in Japan. Oh well, this will be a treat. Shall we have a listen? What do you think? Isn't it pretty sounding? It's a beautiful sound, yes, but it's a little hard to enjoy when all the place burners in the room are giving you fierce looks. Never mind that. If any of them say anything, I'll tell Grexy to have a word. Iris Wilson, Superintendent of Scotland Yard. These shelves are where the pawnbrokers put articles that have been forfeited on display for customers to buy. Yes, it's a really strange miscellany, isn't it? I mean, who would buy this horse statue, for example? Well, sometimes you can't find some real treasures among all the junk, you know. Are you alright, Runo? Oh, it's just, well, it looks like a collection of useless junk as a whole. When you pick out individual things, you can't help wishing you owned them. Even that horse statue. Exactly how the pawnbroker works. They're very clever. I am curious about this. Oh, there's more blood. Ah, look there. Oh, another bullet. You see the bullet is still lodged in the wall. Presumably Mr. Windibanks wasn't practicing with his revolver. Ooh. Hopefully that's his bullet. Ah, well. Mr. Sholmes likes to practice it in his drawing room whenever he can. He's very patriotic about that. Sorry. It's all there in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, you know. Isn't that right, Iris? Ah, did I write something like that? Partly in jest, perhaps. In jest? Well, he doesn't do it often. It's quite a dangerous pastime. He doesn't do it often. He shouldn't even do it once. Forget that for now, Runo. Let's examine the bullet. What's that around the bullet hole? Is it blood? Suspicious red stain on the calendar. Yep, this is where I come in. Oh, right. Blood changes to the same color as the sample from the storeroom. We'll know that it's Mr. Windibanks' blood. Exactly. Here we go then. More for like blood type, isn't it though? So it's a different type of blood. But what if the person has the same type of blood? It's completely different to the color that Mr. Windibanks' blood turned in the analysis. It just goes to show, things don't always come according to plan, do they? Nevertheless, we must add the sample to the results of the other blood analysis. I bet he or she shot someone out here. They shot him as they went in the storeroom or something. The same contraption lets you see pictures of things as if they're right in front of your eyes. Makes you think. Mr. Sholmes gleefully showed it to us yesterday. We were blissfully unaware of any of this was about to happen. Okay, I think we've seen most everything here. Let's go check out the hospital again. Not here yet. I'm expecting him to be on the wall or something. Nope. Not here. Okay. Did enter the prison. Can we talk to her? Is she here? Gina doesn't appear to be here. I believe she must be in questioning at the moment. Oh, but wait a minute. What is it, Iris? Well, if you examine the scene here carefully, there's another possibility, isn't there? Jenny could have slipped the key from the jailer when he wasn't looking and escaped. Oh my! Why would she do something like that? It'd only make her situation worse. Calm down, Runo. I was only joking, of course. Oh. Ugh, you had me worried there. I thought it was a great deduction. Yes, it must be your way with words, Iris. You're so wonderfully persuasive. Perhaps you don't fully understand the weight of your words carry. Oh dear, I'm sorry. I suppose a light-hearted great detective is contradiction in terms. Well, in the same situation, I'm sure Mr. Sholmes would just have thrown his head back and golfed. I'm not entirely sure that it's helpful, Mr. Naruhodo. Well, anyway, it looks like we won't be able to talk to Gina for a while. We should try to make some progress with our investigation in the meantime. Yes, come along then, Runo. Come along, Susie. Did we miss something over there, maybe? Let's see if there's anything out front. Oh, there's a carriage now. Still a Scotland Yard carriage outside Windibanks. I never imagined we'd be investigating a case so close to home. Poor Aya, she's very upset by all this. I'm sorry. I was there. I should have done more. None of this is your fault, Runo. So please, don't apologize. But I just... It's the criminals who are blamed for all this. So let's investigate and work out how to catch them. Yes, you're right. Okay. Well, we're gonna go back inside, I think. 'Cause I bet we missed something. Let's go back in the storeroom. That's like not changed again. Iris, don't worry, I'm alright. But we must find the true culprit. Yes, absolutely. Figure out where to go next. Okay, we missed something in here. Fairly sure this contraption was here yesterday as well. Here we are, though I'm not confident I can get it closed again. Oh yes, that's the folding stereoscope. Really? This is a stereoscope? Mr. Shum showed us a picture yesterday that you were supposed to be able to see in 3 dimension, but for that he used a great contraption over there. Oh well, that's used in public castles and places like that. And it's a carousel with all sorts of pictures inside. This little thing is a much simpler design for use of a home. There are special shops selling prints you can use in them. I have a little collection myself. I wonder if I can make some money out of these in Japan. It would be keeping my toilet. It would keeping my toilet sparkling clean anyway. This officer's been staring intently at the wall since before we came here. Shh! Keep it down. Oh, sorry. There's a major clue just here. Really? Then we must tell Grexy at once. But as soon as I report it, that'll be it. I'll be stuck here even longer. Stuck here? What do you mean? I haven't been on my due days already. I need another constable to relieve me and take over my shift. Ah, they're really having a tough time, these British people. That doesn't stop us investigating, though, does it? No, I suppose not. Fairly sure it was the calendar he was peering at. I mean, we've already looked at it a bit. Green blood. It just seems wrong somehow. Oh, there are all sorts of different colors. There are pretty pink ones and purples too, you know. Like I said, everyone's blood is different. Wonder what color my blood would turn out. Actually, I don't want to know. Or if we go report this to him then? No, we talked. No, can't talk to him. Can't present him. Ask you about that? Inspector Gregson, could you give me your opinion about this, do you think? We don't tend to share sunshine, not with the general public. Ugh. In that case, Gregsy, how about some herbal tea? Glug 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 glug. Ah, lovely. Thank you very much. That really hits the spot. Your ladyship? You don't mind sharing that then? Let's move out here into the main shop and ask her about her thing. Oh, my manuscript. Mr. Sholmes said he deposited at Windibanks and he had. But it's so strange. What is it about this particular story? I worked so hard on it. Why would Hurley say I can't publish it? I'm afraid I have no idea. All you can do is wait until he's ready to tell you, I suppose. Oh, maybe. It's because Hurley isn't in it enough. Maybe I didn't give enough good lines. Yes, maybe. I wish I could say that definitely isn't the reason, but I can't. The way you can identify differences in people's bloods like this is amazing. You really are a genius, Iris. I know. I am. If Hurley and I put our minds to it, we could really shake up Britain's chemists and alchemists. And you could shake up Japan's lawyers and judges, couldn't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, for sure, even if I didn't intend to. Okay, well, here, let's, inspect some of the other clues. This is the ticket that Gina brought in here yesterday. Yes, having been entrusted to her by McGilda 2 months earlier. Article deposited one gentleman's overcoat. The other redemption ticket was in the pocket of that coat. Yes, for a small box deposited 2 days before the omnibus incident. Could that have anything to do with this? So weird that the other one wasn't there. Okay. 1 of 2. 2 of 2. Windibanks. Pop Windibank. Nope, nope, nope. I know it will change. It's changing color. The Hound of the Baskervilles. I'll just Susato know the exact title of this unpublished story. I suppose I'll just have to wait until she's ready to explain it to me. I'm so sorry. Nothing else lighting up? Nope. Well. Well. So this is the second of the two photographic prints of the cat, and it really does look like Wagahai. Looks exactly the same as the first photograph of the first place. I suppose that's what's so compelling. Actually, now we have both pictures. I could have another go at viewing them as a stereoscopic image. So, I need to cross my eyes to try to get the two cats merged in the middle as one. Such a hard thing to do. Whoever thought of this first place must have spent a long time staring. I don't know where to go now. Anything back? We can do anything back at home? Yeah, we're supposed to like examine her board all the time. This is where you note down ideas as an iris. Let's see, what does it say today? Ah, the Boscombe Valley mystery. We visited Boscombe Valley recently for a picnic, you see, but I forgot to bring the tea. When Harley became thirsty, he decided to drink from the Boscombe pool. He gave himself an awful tummy ache. Oh dear. Harley sat there miserable as can be in the field of flowers after that, just like when you saw him yesterday. It really is an unsavory tale. What am I looking for? I feel like we're missing something that's gonna trigger us to be able to do the next part of the story. Oh, this looks like a telegram. It is, but you mustn't open it under any circumstances. Alright, I won't. Now then, let's see. No, what did I just say? You mustn't open it. Don't worry, I won't. With a special concoction I've developed, I'll be able to see through the envelope without having to open it. No, that's not allowed either. Oh, I'm sure it's something important. Little genie so sure can be mischievous. Do you know, I've never seen inside Miss Susato's room. Not so much as put my head around the corner. Oh, Susie often invites me up. It's so much fun. Really? What's her room like? I can't tell you that. Oh. A young maiden's private chamber is a place of bittersweet secrets, you know? Where have I heard that before? I suppose some things are the same the world over. Well, here. Let's go back. No, nothing here. Looks like. Any more here? Well, where are we going now? I just had a crazy idea. Probably won't work, but let's go see if we can find that disc that Sholmes had made. Like Mr. Sholmes' desk, it's completely clear. Totally different without the enormous machine on it. Harley lives in an absolute mess all the time. He never notices when things go missing. Even Mr. Sholmes must have noticed that the huge lump of metal is no longer there. Surely. Many things. Don't feel like the disc is in here, though. There's all sorts of these shelves. Chemistry, apparatus, books, papers, and lots of things I've never seen before. All heated up so I can't help feeling that the whole thing is going to topple at any moment. Yes, Harley does tend to overload the shelves. That's one way of putting it. He wants to look something up in front. He wanted to look up something in one of those books the other day, you know? But it was so tightly crammed in, he gave up and went out to buy a brand new copy instead. Oh my. Well, I don't think it's here. What are we missing? Do you still want to know about the cameras that we don't know where they're at yet? Did everything here? What am I missing? Okay. We gotta show him, it says, the tickets. Inspector, what do you make of this? Ah, what we have here then? Redemption ticket for an article deposited here, is it? Looks like someone ran out of the office stationery and wrote on the ticket whatever paper that was on hand. This is the ticket for Mr. McGilden's overcoat, the one the little diver turned up with yesterday. Oh, actually no, it's not. Really? Think you know better than me? Do you? No, I didn't mean to, Runa's right, Greg. See, it isn't the same ticket. Of course it isn't. I never doubted your ladyship. So what's this all about then, if I might be so bold to ask? This is a second ticket. A second one? Seems that Mr. McGilden in fact had another article in storage here at Windibanks. Is that right? I think we need to discuss this further with the inspector, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh good, because he's ever so easy to talk to. There we go. This ticket was in one of the pockets of Miss McGilden's overcoat. Eh, you mean to tell me? Yes, there was more than just the music box disc in it, seems. I should have insisted on the lads taking it back to the yard and examined it properly. Well, according to the details on this ticket, Mr. McGilden deposited another article there with Mr. Windibanks. Yes, I can see it written here. Small box, was it? Do you have any idea where it is, Gregsy? Any idea at all? It's another article belonging to Mr. McGilden. It could be an important clue. Well, yes, I suppose it could be. Please stop looking at me with those big turquoise eyes, all full of hope and expectations. It's too much pressure. I'll lose my marbles. I will. I'll go barking. This is no time for dog impressions, Inspector. That's enough sauce for you, Sunshine. There's one thing that springs to mind. According to this ticket, the redemption deadline already passed, hasn't it? Oh yes, of course. Articles are only held for 2 months. So the small box would no longer be in here then? That's right. It's been forfeited. Which means it could be on the shelves in the front of the shop, where the forfeited items are offered for sale. Yes, the shelves in the front. We must search them at once. You're wasting your time. Oh. There are dozens of little boxes out there, hundreds even. You can't possibly know which one might have been Mr. McGilded's. That information's not written in the ledger. Ugh. Well, I think we should at least have a look, just in case. Of course, your ladyship, of course. You're very sensible of you, I'm sure. It's getting old. Okay. Now let's go back to the front. Let's see here. Yes, this is where all the items have been forfeited by the original owners are offered for sale. That's right. They've all got little price labels on them, but there's so many. I wonder if the small box and ticket is still on the shelves somewhere. Box that Mr. McGilda deposited here was over 2 months ago. Even if it were, finding it promises to be very troublesome indeed. There's so many boxes, it could be any one of them. Mr. Shalom said that the pawnbroker was the safest place to store anything. More secure than a bank's vault. So perhaps the small box of Mr. McGilden contained something of very great value. Well, if that's the case, you probably have kept it locked. So then we need to find every box with a lock and break them all open. Yeah! Uh-oh. What sort of misconduct would get you arrested? I won't let that happen. Let's take me back. It's been some time since Susato-san last threw me. Okay. Any ideas? Okay. Yeah, more ideas you have? Oh, okay. Not out here. Still gonna just stare at that. I think we're supposed to leave at this point, possibly. Let's see. Let's see. What's back here? Oh. Can we go back to the prison? No. What are we missing now? Let's present him with the other ticket, maybe. Inspector Gregson, can you give me your opinion about this, do you think? We don't tend to share. In that case, Gregson, how about you? Okay, that's this one. Nope, we don't need that one. We'll present the first one again. Okay. Inspector, what do you make of this? Oh, what do we have there? We're definitely taking for article deposit here, is it? Looks like someone ran out of office station. Okay. Same thing. It's just the same dialogue. So. Skip, skip, skip. Maybe we can show him the manuscript. Can we present him this? Is that what I think it is? Your ladyship's latest? Yes, my latest story. It's called The Hounds of the Baskervilles. Ah, a most fascinating title, your ladyship. Fascinating, and I don't suppose... Will the lady mention my humble self in the tale this time? Good question. I can't really remember. I see. Well, why would you, your ladyship? I'll just await this publication in eager anticipation. You needn't worry, Inspector. I'm sure if you do appear, you won't be anything particularly remarkable. You're looking to be arrested, Sunshine. I didn't mean it like that. And even if I did, you wouldn't have bitten her ladyship's head off, would you? Can we... Okay. We did all this. Yep. Come on. What am I missing here? What am I missing? We must find the true culprit. Yes, absolutely. Okay. Oh, okay. Let's see here. We need to go back here. We're supposed to present the tickets to her as well, it looks like. Okay. Would you mind if I showed you this, Iris? It's just a boring old thing, really. But... Oh! I don't really like boring things. Ah, looks like Japanese modesty is easily misinterpreted by young Western children. I mean, who does like boring things? No one wants to be shown something boring. Come to think of it, you're always introducing things with, this is boring, but it's a bad habit. You should stop it. I'll be sure to let the entire population of the Empire of Japan know on my return. Is that not? Wait. Okay. Examine this. Blood. That's what we need to mess with. Mr. Naruhodo. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's something rather troubling here. I've noticed. Red smear, you mean? Yes, it looks like blood, doesn't it? Wonder if Susato-san had picked up on that. Well, in that case, yes, we need Iris. We should show this to her before we forget. Okay. That's what we was needing to show her, was this ticket. Present to you a bloody ticket. Oh, that looks like blood. Get your gun out. I would say it's from a gloved finger, most certainly a glove made of leather. Well, don't worry, Bruno. You can leave the rest to me. Purple. Look at that. Yes, that's a color we haven't seen before, isn't it? We simply must add to the portfolio of blood samples. It could be an important clue. Although, it would be nice to find out whose blood these different colors correspond to at some point. Well, this particular stain of blood. Oh, you've had an idea, haven't you? Do you know whose blood this is? Yes, I've an idea whose blood this is. Not from the color it turned, but with a little deduction. That's right. I think it's clear. Iris, you know as well? You first, Runo. Who do you think it belongs to? Alright. I believe that this is blood of... The thrice-fired Mason was the only one who'd bled at that point, I believe. Thrice-fired Mason? You don't sound very sure of yourself, the way you trailed off there. Well, it was 2 months ago now, that case. And of course I'd never met the victim, so I'm struggling to remember his name. He was definitely thrice-fired, though. The victim? Of the omnibus case? Yes, his name was indeed Mr. Thrice-fired Mason. But that would mean that this blood stain was left on the ticket 2 months ago. Yes, I think it was. Gina brought the ticket here to Windibanks yesterday. It suggested that the blood stain was already on it at that time. So it's smear blood from the time Mr. Mason was killed 2 months ago. Something else has come back to me now. Mr. McGilded was also wearing leather gloves that night. Now I ask you, what good-hearted old soul wouldn't rush to help a fella bleeding from his stomach? I was about to start worrying about my gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. It certainly does look like a leather glove thumbprint, this mark. But we know that Mr. McGilded had no injuries at the time anywhere on his body, from which we can conclude any blood on the glove belonged to the victim, Mr. Mason. Mr. Naruhodo, you sound just like Mr. Sholmes. Minus the quirky slip-ups, I hope. Yes, I think you're right, Runo. Very well. Let's make a note of this. The details of the pawnbroker's ticket for the coat have been added. Dong, dong. Ah! Nearly jumped out of my skin there. How could Mr. Windibanks set such a wicked trap? I doubt he set up to scare anyone. Is that really the time? I think that perhaps we should pay Jeannie another visit soon. Oh. Our trial is tomorrow. We must establish whether or not we will be defending her. I think we should ask her one more time. She may have changed her mind. Don't you remember, Runo? You told her she could rip up the representation papers if she didn't want you to be her lawyer. Really? Did I say that? Yes, you did. The deadline for submitting this paperwork is fast approaching. In that case, we'd better hurry back to the prison. Talk to Gina again. Okay. Now we can go back to prison. That sounds awful saying it like that. Oh, Gina, good. You're back. Don't pull the gun out. Okay. The police must have finished questioning her then. Oh, how was it, Jenny? Was it awful? Eh? Oh, didn't bother me. Thank you for the papers you signed before. It meant we were able to investigate at Windibanks. Oh, right. Don't you want to know how we got on? We've been ever so busy. What's the point in asking? Won't change what everyone's saying. That I did it. That's not... Gina, we came to ask you for your final decision. Eh? What decision? About tomorrow's trial. Will you let me defend you or not? I must submit the paperwork now if you'd like Mr. Naruhodo to represent you. Right, I see. She's really lost her fight all of a sudden. But I know what that feels like. The worry is just so hard to bear. Oh, alright then. Blimey, give it a rest with them eyes, Iris. So come on then, fill us in. Who done it? Unfortunately, we don't know yet. You don't say. We don't know yet, Gina. But Mr. Naruhodo and all of us know that you are innocent of this crime. And while we haven't yet managed to work out who the real culprit is, there are a number of interesting facts that we have managed to establish. Oh yeah? Like what? Well, for example, the reason for you being there in the first place. I think I know why you broke into Windibanks that night. Looks like I'm gonna have to take some evidence that clearly reveals the reason. Thrust it in Gina's face, or I could present it to her calmly, I suppose. Let's see here. We found this in Mr. Windibanks' storeroom. The manuscript of Iris' latest story. Huh? Oh, right. Well, that's good then. Curiously, the storeroom of Windibanks showed no sign of being ransacked for items of value of the like. With one exception. The box file that housed this manuscript. It was you, wasn't it, Gina, who broke open the box containing the manuscript last night? Eh? You were determined to find out whether or not the Hound of the Baskervilles was really there. That's the real reason you broke into the storeroom last night, isn't it? Ah! Why don't you tell us what happened, please? Alright, yeah. This Baskerville story is the latest Sholmes adventure, right? But it ain't been printed yet. So I figured it's gotta be worth a fair few pieces of silver, right? Oh yes, at least 5,000 pounds. What? So, you intended to sell Iris' manuscript, did you? No, Jenny. How could you? What? Wait, no, hang on. Of course I won't go sell it. All I want to do is find out if the manuscript or whatever you call it really was there or not. It's the only reason I was in the first place. For Iris' sake, isn't that right? We knew why you done it from the start, Gina. Of course we did. But I knew you wouldn't do anything mean like that, Jenny. I just knew it. Well, I saw the manuscript in the storeroom. It reminded me of what you'd said the night before. Grown-ups do a lot worse than that, believe me. Barefaced liars, a lot of them. You just ain't realized it yet. I'm telling you, that manuscript ain't at Windibanks. You'll see it. You add a look. If I'm honest, I haven't wondered if Hurley's telling me the truth. I have wondered if Hurley's telling me the truth sometimes. I mean, I sometimes wonder if he might have hidden my manuscript somewhere. Somewhere I don't know. Even though it's wrong of me to doubt him. Oh, Jenny, that was so sweet of you. Alright. I'll tell you why I did it. Just stop looking at me like that, Iris. It weren't because of Iris. That's not why I did it. I just wanted to know the truth, that's all. You wanted to know if Mr. Sholmes was being honest. If he really deposited the manuscript at Windibanks. It's like I told you the night before. I never had a father. But Iris's lot ain't like mine. She got her dad, only she can't see him. And I reckon that's gotta be harder. That's why she writes her stories. They're about her dad, really. That's what it sounded like to me anyway. Last night when I was listening to what you were saying. Stories about Daddy. You mean they're not the adventures of the great detective, so much as the adventures of the great detective and his trusty partner? Well, that's how I see it, yeah? You're so thoughtful and so kind, Ginny. Yes, and we never thought any differently, did we? Look, give it a rest, will ya? I ain't all this chummy nonsense, you hear? I ate it. I don't trust no one, right? That's how I work. Because if you don't trust no one can let you down. So leave me alone. Go on, scapper. I hadn't noticed until now, but it's unmistakable. Right there on both sleeves of that overcoat are some very suspicious red stains. Blood. What? Why are you looking at me like that? I think it might be worth presenting some of our other findings in the area of Ginny now. We'll do this and then we'll present, I guess. We all have the representation papers and other documents we need. All we have to do is hand them over to the court clerk. That is, if you allow me to represent you in court tomorrow. Nah, don't bother. Jenny, rip them up and chuck them, would ya? Them representation papers or whatever you call them. Still ain't fancy enough to have a bin. So what will you do in court tomorrow? I'll be fine my own. I don't think you will be. Look, it don't matter. What's gonna happen is gonna happen. This is one stubborn pickpocket. Okay, let's you find can I not present? Oh wait, back up. Present. These stains on the sleeves of your new coat, Gina. They're blood, aren't they? Not that I know what those not that I know whose blood yet. What? Blood, Mr. Naruhodo. You don't appear to have any obvious wounds yourself, though. So could it be the blood that splattered from Mr. Windibanks when he was shot last night? Let's not beat around the bush here. This trusty friend of mine will get results much faster than anything else. What? Well, take it easy, Harris. Don't move, Ginny. Gotta shoot. Oh. Oh my. That's the thrice-fired mason's blood from the night. What the? Forget the sleeves. The whole coat is covered in blood. Of course, the black color of the fabric was masking the stains. That's why we haven't seen them until now. And the blood has reacted with the chemical to turn the color purple color, which matches one of our samples we've already collected perfectly. Yes, now let's see. Who had the purple blood? Ah, yes, it was the brickmaker, Mr. Mason, the victim of the murder case 2 months ago. I knew it. What are you all on about? The victim? What do you mean? It's a rather uncomfortable situation, Mr. Naruhodo, but I think this makes things quite clear. It means the omnibus case is finally solved. The truth about who really murdered the brickmaker, Mr. Mason, is revealed. Oi! Will someone explain what's going on? Stop telling a half story. We can see now the victim's blood is all over Mr. McGillen's overcoat. But in the trial 2 months ago, the defendant said that this in his testimony. Now I ask you, what good-hearted soul would rush to help a fellow bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about my gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. But if you look at this overcoat now, it's clear the stains couldn't have arisen from Mr. McGillen trying to pull the victim to his feet. No, if that was If that was what really happened, the blood would have splashed all over the front of the coat. Only explanation for this pattern of blood is that splatter on McGilden's coat when he stabbed the victim in the stomach. I've tried to run from the truth for long enough, but there's no escaping it now. The true culprit in that case, Mr. Mason's killer, was Magnus McGilded. Mr. Naruhodo, that horrible case is solved at last, and I helped the man walk free from that trial. Used all that twisted testimony, all that sham evidence to prove his innocence. How could I have let that happen? Bruno, did you believe him though? Did you believe Mr. McGilden was innocent? I believed, or rather, I think I was trying to believe. I wanted to, because believing in those you represent in court is a defense lawyer's greatest weapon. A weapon. Before we came to Great Britain, a great friend of mine taught me a valuable lesson. You mean Kazuma-sama? Mr. Head bends. Listen, Ryunosuke. We lawyers are only human. We can't know for sure what is the truth and what is lie. Which is why we must resort to our primary weapon. An unwavering belief in our clients. That's all we really have. Unwavering belief? Only then we truly believe that our clients tell us. Can we fight with everything that we have for our cause? In any battle, there can be no victory without faith. So I believe you, unwaveringly. That's funny, Gina. Of course, sounds like the Empire of Japan you come from. Everyone must be soft. Well, come on. Look at the mess it's got you into, believing into that bog trotter. Yes, I inadvertently helped a murderer walk free. Well, at least you've learnt your lesson now, eh? Believing in people never is worth it. Someone's always stabbing you in the back in the end. As soon as you let your guard down, you've had it. Take a leaf out of my book. Believe in no one, get hurt by no one. Gina, may I ask you something? What? I'd just like to make absolutely sure. What would you like us to do with these representation papers for tomorrow's trial? How many times do I have to say it? Rip them up and chuck them away. Are you really sure that's what you want? I bet that's what you want and all now, Mr. I'm a believer lawyer over there. Don't forget it was me in the trial 2 months ago. I led everyone up the garden path, didn't I? And you're telling me you can believe in me after that? Not likely. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, a lawyer's primary weapon is an unwavering belief in his clients. Ultimately, it comes down to whether or not I feel I can trust Gina after everything that's happened. Gina, let me say it again. Please allow me to represent you in tomorrow's trial. Eh? Are you half-baked? Not at all. You've not once admitted to committing the crime, have you? Hello, and thank you for the hydrate. It's always nice to have a hydrate. What's more, I believe that you're telling me the truth. Seriously, Mr. Naruhodo? Didn't you hear all of what I said before? I'm a born liar. Fibs just trip off my tongue. And I'm a driver, don't forget. It's been a bit of talking, yeah. I've got like 2 drinks here beside me to work on, but it definitely gets me tired after a while. But yes, thank you. It's always nice to get refreshed. Thank you for stopping in here on the stream. It's great having you here. I pulled the wool over my eyes 2 months ago and got you in all sorts of trouble. Why would you ever trust me now? I just don't get it. Gina, I do understand why you chose not to put your trust in others. But I assure you, there is more to this life than you yet realize. What you mean? The world we live in is full of people you would do very well to trust. People who won't ever let you down. It's true that I'm just a student of law and I'm certainly lacking courtroom experience. But I can promise you this. Whatever happens, and until my very last breath, I am completely on your side. What do you expect me to say to that? Then it's decided. I'll take these papers down and carry out the necessary preparations for tomorrow's trial. It would be a shame to throw them away now after it's been penned with your name so beautifully. Do what you like. You Eastern Law art. I don't know what you are. I don't get you. Gina's taken herself off to the back of her cell. She never admitted it, but I hope she's feeling relieved. That turned out all right in the end, I think. Whatever's hiding there, show yourself at once. Eavesdropping is the height of cowardice. Miss Susato? Somebody is there in the shadows. I can sense it. Somebody who wasn't there before. What? Blimey, you're sharp, eh? I suppose you were using one of those mystic Japanese arts, like the art of stealth I've heard so much about. If anyone was being stealthy, it was you, Inspector. Gregsy! Oh, dear me, I am most terribly sorry, your ladyship. I didn't mean to startle you. How long have you been listening in on our conversation? Good grief. Listening in? No. I just got word that there were some visitors who were refusing to leave, even though it was after hours. I assure you, your ladyship, I only just arrived this very minute, not a moment earlier. That's all it is. Nothing untoward, nothing at all. After hours? Is it that late already? So then, I'll humbly excuse myself now, your ladyship. Ta-da-ta-doodle, cheerio, all the best, bye-bye-bye. That's a lot of farewells, and not one of them appropriate for her ladyship. Oh, but I wanted to have a chat. I'm terribly sorry, but time is pressing at the minute. Oh, I see. That's a shame. If I don't get this emergency at the Supreme Court dealt with sharpish, Lord Strongheart will emergency? Lord Strongheart? Nothing. Forget I said anything anyway. I'm off. Alright, Gregsy, if you have to, but let's chat soon. Delighted, charmed. Can't wait. If you please, my pleasure. That's a lot of pleasantries, and not one of them sound sincere. Gregsy's so funny. He says such silly things. Certainly entertaining to see an inspector of the police fawning to a 10-year-old girl. But anyway, I wonder what this emergency is at the Supreme Court. I must attend the court clerk's office now before it closes. Yes, of course. Thank you, Miss Susato. Kindly escort Iris home now, Mr. Naruhodo. I shall meet you there later. And so our investigation came to an end. Susato-san went to file the necessary papers for my defense of Gina the following day. And then it hit me. I could no longer suppress the wretched feeling that had been gnawing away at my insides. Tomorrow, Susato-san would be leaving Britain and making her way back to Japan. Naruhodo-san. It's been a very trying day, hasn't it? I do hope you're not too exhausted. What about you, Susato-san? Today's been even more trying for you, I'm sure. Mr. Sholmes was shot before our eyes, Gina was arrested. All in the back of the news that your father has fallen ill, and that she must return to Japan at once. I hope your father recovers soon. Thank you for your kind words. I wonder why it is that so many thoughts rage in my head like a storm, and yet I seem unable to find the words to express any of them. I know exactly what you mean. Anyway, I have one final task to complete as your additional assistant. I need you to tell me about the manuscript before you leave. We'll see if you do that, though. Once that is done, I shall make preparations for my departure tomorrow. One final task? It's just 2 months since we arrived in London, but we've managed to establish this office. It was finally feeling as though we were settling in. I would be lying if I said I felt no regret. I'm so sorry, Susato-san. It's just so sudden. I really don't know what to think. I've had no time to gather my thoughts. I know, we've only been here a short time, but in my limited experience at the courtroom, I feel like I've learned something. And what would that be? It seems to me there are many facets to people's personalities. Facets? Like a jewel, the light plays off them in a complex pattern, illuminating their actions and their motives. But we see only one small number of the total facets, and then it's illuminating. And what is illuminated is only a part of the whole story. What lies in the shadows? What do those facets we cannot see look like? Perhaps there are some parts we'll never lay eyes on for as long as we live. That's so true. Sometimes I feel as though I'm blinded by so much. But I keep hoping that one day it will all become clear. And I'm hoping I'm saying that right. It might be facets. That all the facets will be illuminated and I'll finally understand how everything fits together. Naruhodo-san, I suppose what matters is that we keep our eyes open and keep moving forward, even if the way sometimes seems dark. It's amazing to think it's just been 2 months. You've grown so much. Sorry? I've what? Oh no, it was nothing. Unimportant. Here, let's ask her about her task. You mentioned one final task a moment ago. What did you mean? Oh my, I nearly forgot. Please, I want you to have this. What is that? Some huge bundle of documents? It's my notes from the case 2 months ago. The murder that was committed on the omnibus. The McGilded case. Seems to me that this case of Mr. Windibanks' murder, of which Gina is accused, is very much tied up with the omnibus case, in ways that are not yet completely apparent. So I took the liberty of consolidating my writings about the case for you, with everything else she's had to think about. Susato-san still managed to do this, and all neatly laid out for me in her beautiful handwriting. It was my pleasure. I can only hope that it will bolster your case tomorrow for Gina. Thank you so much, Susato-san. I'll do my best to use it wisely. You really are the best judicial assistant in the world. Well, that's extremely flattering. But I'm sorry to say that I've been a complete failure. Sorry? I didn't quite catch what you said there. Oh, ignore me. I was just mumbling to myself. Okay. Do you know what time you'll leave London in the morning? Yes, I picked up my ticket earlier. I shall be leaving here at 4 a.m. I see. Well, I'll escort you to the station. Absolutely not. Sorry? I'm sure you realize why I couldn't possibly let you do that. You have a very important day ahead of you tomorrow. Gina's trial. Yes, I know, but every word you utter will have the potential to determine Gina's fate. You must get as much rest as possible. Even though, like me, I'm sure you'll find it hard to sleep. But please, for me, do try. Well, it's getting rather late. I think you should go to bed now, Naruhodo-san. I must finish packing up my things in my room. Susato-san, I wish you the very best of luck tomorrow. Good night. Wait, there's something I need to say. Yeah. Oh. What was that for? What was that? Secret technique in mine. Susato shut down. Shut down? Please, I implore you. If we have to voice our goodbyes, I won't be able to hold back my tears. I was gonna ask you about the manuscript. Susato-san. Truly has been a trying day. On our feet for hours, getting Gina to open up to us and learning the truth about the nemesis of the case. Maybe she learned the name from her father, from Iris' dad, Mr. Watson, because he was the guy in the first chapter. And I think her dad knew him. It might have been something that got mentioned before. On our feet for hours, getting Gina to open up to us and learning the truth about the nemesis of a case. Physically and mentally, I was exhausted, and yet the idea of sleep seemed impossible. I forced myself to close my eyes, and as cacophony of scenes of our lives here in London played through my mind, eventually my fatigue triumphed. I fell into a deep sleep. Surprised it didn't save right there. That's a great weight off my mind. Jumps, what are you doing? Rest assured, I shall put everything in place exactly as we've discussed. Thank you so much. It's been an honor and a pleasure to be acquainted with you, Mr. Sholmes. On the contrary, the pleasure has been mine. I bid you farewell, and Godspeed. My dear madame. Going on. To be continued. So many weirdness going on. Okay, this is where we're gonna save it, and we're gonna, I think, start our trial probably next time. I hope you've enjoyed this. I have. It's been very interesting. I'm very interested in figuring out what to wrap this up. I don't know everything that's going on. It's cliffhangers for me. So I hope you've enjoyed this as much as me. And of course, these will show up on Sundays on my YouTube, and I hope you will check them out and check out my past ones. All right. See you all later. Bye, everyone.